most difficult part, the beginning. In the beginning, I just bombarded, I think, like 10,000 fitness influencers, even while I already had fitness influencers, while I already had trackers, but I bombarded them for 1 month. And then I had one good, really good, high level Mr. Olympia bodybuilder. And then it was more easy because I had him. And then I had the next one. And then I had the next one. And then after some time, affiliates make outreach to you. And this is something great. And this works in every single industry, even in different, like, let's say now here with wealth consulting, now we have a lot of affiliates here. We don't even do ads anymore, but we could always do this. So you need to diversify your marketing, and you really need to build leverage over the years. And leverage you cannot build just making ads randomly somewhere. You need affiliates. You need to build track record. You need to have so many unfair advantages that just nobody can outwork you. And if a competitor can destroy you, if Facebook can destroy you, if one payment processor can destroy you, it's not a real business. And what I did over all years, what I'm still doing is I'm every day planning what is the potential risk of my business and how can I make sure that this won't happen? Which are the other competitors? How can I make sure that they don't outwork me? And the same is with payment processing, for example. So, which is already the next issue that a lot of people have sooner or earlier. Just because you make right now 100K, 500K, 1 million per month, and you think, oh yeah, I'm cool, everything works perfectly. This will change because there are different periods. And once you hit 2 million in revenue, of course, it depends on the industry. In some industries, it's earlier, in some industries, it's later. But once you have 2 million revenue, a new period of business starts, which is called business is war. This is when competitors try to attack you. This is when competitors make thousands of fake orders on your website with stolen credit card data and do chargebacks to get you down. That's when they hire hackers to get you down. So this is a completely different period again. And then you need to be even more safe. You need to have even better marketing and a better banking payment processing setup. The next main reason why some of our clients make a lot of money and some clients don't make a lot of money is simply because they are all in and they make simple decisions. What I see is, and I can guarantee it 100%, the most intelligent clients are not the most successful ones. The super intelligent ones overthink every single step. So they complain the whole day, they pay a lot of taxes in the home country. And we tell them, okay, just set up a company in the US or in Hong Kong and move to Dubai. And the successful clients, many times they are not intelligent. They say, okay, yalla, davai, let's do it. And they move and set up the company there. And the super intelligent, overthinking clients who are already broke, they think 100 times and no, somebody told me maybe Cyprus or I need to go there or maybe I need to do this, and they overthink for 6 months and still nothing changed. And at this time, the more stupid client already made much more money and outworked this guy. So you shouldn't overthink that much, and you should follow just one person who's really successful, which is already the next big issue that I see every day, that 90% of e-commerce, dropshipping, entrepreneurs, however you want to call it, are in some nonsense communities following broke coaches, which give the same advice to everybody, which just creates a red ocean because everybody is following the same strategy, trying to sell the same products. And it doesn't make any sense at all. So just follow one person, follow this script, but still don't do what 5,000 other people are doing. So this is when it comes to taxes. So I heard that a lot of you are from Europe or from the US. Of course, these are really different markets, especially if you're from Europe. The main advice that I can give you is just get out as soon as possible. And this also made me more successful, not just because I started paying 50% income taxes and now I pay 0% income tax in Dubai, but also simply because my mindset developed, because I was just surrounded by the right people and I could fully reprogram my mind and I could just think 1,000 times bigger. And this is really important. Maybe you think, no, I don't need it. I just need to sit in front of my laptop and do e-commerce. I don't need to be in an expensive surrounding. But once you leave your home country, you can just reprogram yourself. And if you do this for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, will be on a completely different level. And when it comes to company setups, to those of you who live in the US, sell to the US, it's anyways clear. And for the guys in Europe, if you sell to the US market, set up a US LLC. And if you sell to Europe, set up a Hong Kong Limited. And then it's important, number one, to get good banking, especially once you make 500K and more. A lot of entrepreneurs think, oh, I make so much money now, 500K, I have 800K on my bank account, it's so much, and it's normal that Revolut and Wise and that everybody is annoying me, but this is not true, of course. If you have a real good bank account, and that's why we help entrepreneurs to open good local bank accounts, you will not have any issue at all. The opposite, the bank will be your slave. So the bank is calling me every day and saying, please, Mr. Boubaous, can you keep more balance on the accounts? The bankers get better jobs in their bank, a higher status in their bank because they manage me and our clients, and it's just a lot of money. So the banks will actually work for you instead of being somewhere in some online chat with a fintech bank account, which is okay in the beginning, but not later on if you make a lot of money. And the same is with payment processing. Even yesterday, we had a call with a client. I told him 2 months ago, you need private processing. He was waiting, and he made somehow some mistake with Shopify payments, which wasn't even a mistake, and they put him on a match list, so he can't even get good banking anymore, and it's difficult to solve this. And now it's difficult to get him good payment processing because he didn't prepare a backup before. And this is always an issue with banking, with taxes, with payment processing, that most of you always wait just too long. And only once you face these issues, then you complain and everything needs to be fast. But it doesn't make any sense because many times it's already too late. It's much better if your payment processing is perfectly fine right now. So now you have perfect processing statements. Now we apply for private processing. You have the perfect track record, and you actually get good private processing. Even if you don't need it right now, at least you have a good backup, a good back end. So in case that Stripe Shopify payments annoy you, just hold your money, block you, and you can only contact the online chat, or maybe they even remove the online chat and you don't even know who to contact anymore. At least you have a private processing backup. And private processing doesn't only help you as a backup, but we help you with a dedicated PayPal manager. We help you to unblock your funds, to get you out of this match list. It's just the base. And if you don't even cover the basics, you can't see yourself as a real entrepreneur. And that's what I see nowadays, that most of you are just weak. If you just look 100 years ago, if somebody wanted to build a good business, he needed to leave his country, take a ship somewhere, maybe he will die on the sea, and he needs to work for 30, 40 years, and then maybe he will be self-made millionaire. This was the norm, 30 years to be self-made millionaire. Now, if you're 100% serious, it's 100% possible to have a few $1 million net worth in 1 year, in your first year of business. It's so fucking easy. Why? I see it every single day. I'm bombarded with possibilities. I see the highest level of entrepreneurs around me, and a lot of them are extremely young. So it is possible. And it's not that they're doing business for 10, 15 years. They started last year and make a lot of money. So it's possible, but only if you're serious about business. And I'm not just talking about making money fast, but more challenging is even to keep a lot of money long term, because most of you, me included, are from financially poor families. And the reason is, why are most people again broke after some time? Because somehow they sabotage themselves, manipulate themselves to go broke again. So let's say you are from a poor family and now you're rich. Somehow you still think, okay, deep inside you think somehow I will be still broke again. I will do something wrong and somehow I go broke again. And this is exactly what happens most of the times because you make some money, you think you're cool, you spend your money, and you don't even cover the basics of a real business. Like I explained to you before, your marketing is not bulletproof. If you don't have at least 4 different traffic sources and 4 different sources of clients, it's not marketing. It's just pushing a button and making some ads, and you know this. And the same is with banking. If you don't have a real high level banking relationship with a private banker, you don't have a good banking setup. If you only have Shopify payments, if you don't have private processing, if you don't have at least a good backup, your payment processing it's not stable. And if you don't have a good company set up and you pay a lot of taxes, sooner or earlier, some competitor will outwork you simply because he doesn't pay taxes. So when not even this basics of your business is covered, you're not safe at all. And I can go on and on and on with all the things that you need to do during your entrepreneurial period, but I think I covered like the most important things that you guys need to do. And yes, 20 minutes are gone, so maybe you just ask me your most important questions.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. I really enjoyed that, honestly. That was very good. But so I've got like 2, 3 questions that I'll ask that I think most people it will help them as well, and then I'll just open up anyone else that has a question as well. But so when you were scaling from 7 to 8 figures, what do you think was like the biggest lever that you pulled aside from just affiliates as well? Because lots of people get stuck in that gray area going from even just 6 figures to 7 figures, but going from 7 to 8 is just massive, you know?
I really think in the past I always described every detail. Nowadays I really think we go back to basics and it's really mindset, you know. Originally I didn't want it to be the guy who gives any mindset advice because it's not our business at all. But I realized that it really comes down to the mindset. And the biggest shift when I made it to from little bit success to high level success, it was really only mindset shifts, because the main information's already out there. Yes, maybe I pushed today more on affiliates and somebody was not really thinking about it, but it's the same, you know, like I told you before, I was a fitness coach. And if I ask like most clients who are fat, what do you need to do? And most know the answer, at least 70%. Okay, I need to eat less or more healthy. I need to train more. 70%. And the other 30% was my knowledge that I gave to the clients. But the clients knew like the broad answer. And this is the same in business. I became really successful once I decided I want to be really successful, all in. And I took everything more serious. And affiliates was just a byproduct. I was just sitting at home thinking, how will I become a millionaire this year? This year. So at this time, I was still in Germany. Every morning I took a cold shower and I was just beating myself and telling myself, this fucking year I will have millions of dollars of net worth. I will do it. And then I had to think, so what can I do right now? I make ads, I am profitable, but it's not that I'm cashing out millions every month. And million in revenue, it's nothing. If you really want to live a high level lifestyle, it's every month I have millions of profits and I just think, where's this money gone? Because if you really buy real estate, fly first class, stay in the best hotels, like $1 million for your personal lifestyle is easily gone and you still think you're broke. So you need to make more money. And I think really it was just a mindset shift that I took everything more seriously, which means some of you guys contact 20 affiliates and give up. I bombarded them 24/7 without any stop. So I think it's really just a mindset shift. Since I saw business as war and not like, you know, sit in front of my laptop, I do some calls, I make some steps, but really I'm in war right now. Since then, I leveled up.
That was good. So I'm gonna ask one more question, and then everyone, if you don't want to hop on the mic, you can just send your message in the chat, and then we'll go through some of them. But like I know for us, we reached out to you maybe 2 weeks before we had our payment processing hold, and since then there's been lots of problems. But thankfully we were able to reach out and then get approved for a private one right before, so that's ready. But what would you recommend to others who are maybe, let's say they're doing like 1K a day and they're scaling up and they have no issues with their processor right now? Like, should this be the time where they start setting aside to reach out for a private processor or getting some backups? Like, what would you say specifically?
Yeah, I would do everything as soon as possible. Why? Because like I told you, I sit every day, I look at every business, and I think I need to kill every potential risk. And losing your payment processing is a potential risk. That a competitor outworks you is a potential risk. You need to pay taxes is a potential risk. That your bank makes problems is a potential risk. That you just waste your time with accounting, it's a potential risk. So you need to reduce everything. And of course, if you make almost zero profit and you just don't have money, I cannot tell you just invest in everything to reduce every risk, but you should try it. Yes. So as soon as you're profitable and make good money, you shouldn't like fly around the world and flex and feel cool. First, you should invest in a better company setup, in private banking, in private processing, because until everything is bulletproof, you don't deserve, honestly, like, a nice lifestyle. A nice lifestyle comes much, much later. And I'm not talking about having one online shop which is profitable and now you can directly feel accomplished. That you actually accomplished something is much, much later in this period. So yeah, I would do everything as soon as possible. And even if you're not sure right now, that's why we also shifted our system with wealth consulting. So every client of us needs to start with a wealth consulting blueprint, which also includes one call with me personally. And I just go through the current situation of this client and I just see, okay, what's most important right now. But yeah, as a quick answer, I would always just do everything as soon as possible and just take everything more seriously.
Yeah, that's great. So if anyone has a question, just I guess unmute yourselves, ask a question. We've got one in the chat right now if you want to take a look at that one.
Okay, I see. What's your recommendation for robot mode? Okay, let's start. Then let's just write the questions in the comments. So what's your recommendation for a current UK limited to minimize corporate tax and VAT? Is it simply Hong Kong setup alongside? Okay, so it really depends. Maybe for the question about UK limited, where do you sell? Like to which country are you selling? Where are your main clients from? If I just know this, then I can give you an answer. Okay, UK and European Union. So this is really important also to always just see where you sell. Okay, so let's say I would be from the UK with a UK limited selling to UK and European Union. What would I do? I would number one directly move out of the UK. It's just like basic. And it's not about do I want to live in Dubai forever? It doesn't matter. Just make the step for the next 3-4 years. You're young and for the next 5 to 10 years, your main focus is earning money anyways, getting rich anyways. So just go all in. You anyways hustle the whole day. So just leave. It's not just for the taxes even. It's also just for your mindset. As I already explained, you become a completely different person. I only don't like to go back to Germany because I remember my old mindset. I remember my childhood and I just lose a lot of my good mindset basically. So I would move to Dubai, number one, simply so that you have no income tax, no dividend tax, no withholding tax, that you as a person, you personally are tax free and that you neutralize yourself. And number two, at the same time, and we just uploaded a video regarding this 6 days ago about moving to Dubai and at the same time transferring your UK limited to another operational company. So you should check this video on Wealth Consulting on YouTube. They have the full 50-minute deep dive into this. And then at the same time, first you get your UAE residency, and at the same time you set up a Hong Kong Limited. Hong Kong Limiteds are perfect to sell to Europe and UK, so to the whole European Economic Zone and to Asia. You do this at the same time, and then you just transfer your business, you transfer your Shopify to your Hong Kong Limited. And then we apply for you for the official offshore tax exemption, so you have no taxes besides VAT. You can register for the VAT, and if you can, and you can reduce VAT. I can't tell you right now, you can just avoid the VAT, but if you live outside of Europe, and if your company is outside of Europe with an official offshore tax exemption like Hong Kong, it brings you in a reasonable, arguable position to potentially at least reduce the VAT from, depending on which country you are, let's say 19 or 21%, to 7 or 9%. So it's really easy and it's all legal, logically, because you live outside of Europe, your company is outside of Europe, and then it also depends from where your fulfillment is. If your fulfillment is also outside of Europe, from China, then it's really easy to have almost zero tax. So this is what I would do. And with Hong Kong and with US compared to UK, you have much better options when it comes to payment processing. So it's a no-brainer. There's no way around it, and it's something that you need to do basically. Okay, then let's answer the next question. How much would you recommend to have or make before moving to Dubai? Okay, so you also need to ask yourself how much taxes you pay right now. I would do it as soon as possible. But you should have $10,000 per month in best case, but 5,000 is okay. So when you have like 5,000 per month, from there on, I would make the move. And again, guys, you also need to understand, at least you already have your residency, you have your company, you have your banking here, you have your substance here in Dubai. And if you still want to move back for some period of time, you can still do it. It's not that this possibility is gone. You don't need to think that it's a lifetime decision, but it's better if it's a lifetime decision. But let's say for some reason you don't make enough money, you can still move back for a few months, or you can spend some time in Thailand, how I did it when I was younger and still didn't have enough money, but I was never going back to Germany. This was like my main goal, just for the mindset also. But even if you go for a few months to Thailand and you still have your UAE residency, it's also good. But I would just leave as soon as possible. 5K per month is definitely enough. And what else do we have here? Any quick recommendations for a private processor that could enable ShopPay as well? I see that around 75 to 80% use ShopPay, so I would rather have that option, so conversion rates are still the best they can be. Yes, there are a lot of good options out there. Just difficult to say right now what's the best option for you. But what we always do with private processing is that you have everything that you need basically. So yeah, hard to answer these questions right now, but we have good options for private processing. I'm in the US and do not want to move. Don't mind paying the taxes. What would biggest average to pull to cover myself? So I don't really understand the question. Maybe you can just tell me more exactly what you need. If you don't want to move right now, it's okay. It's anyways for a US citizen not as important as for a European citizen. I would just make as much money as possible in the US. And you're also lucky as a US citizen because you can make a lot of money. And being a US citizen has a lot of advantages. And the biggest advantage is you need to see it's nothing changed in the world. Still, US is the easiest market where you can make most of your money. And you need to see that the people who are in Europe, in Asia, in the Middle East, they all want to be in the US, sell to the US to make money there. And it's most easy for a US citizen, obviously. Payment processing options are much better. You can get loans as much as you want. So yeah, if I would be US citizen, I would also just stay in the US and make as much money as possible. And I would just reduce my taxes in a legal way. And there are good ways to reduce taxes. I can't honestly share this information right now, but that's what I would do. I would just stay in the US. I would have for sure fulfillment in the US. So also we have all of our fulfillment in the US for our US businesses. It's what makes much more sense. And then I would just make 10 million, 20 million, 30 million in the US. And there are a lot of good possibilities. So we have a lot of clients of us who make seriously 5 million to 8 million per month, and they need a US signer. They need a US partner, and only a US citizen can be a US partner. So there are a lot of possibilities if you see it from the right perspective. So setting up private process, getting S or C Corp. This depends on obviously if you're a US citizen or not US citizen. If you're a US citizen, then you can use the corp. Makes more sense than using an LLC. If you are non-US citizen, then an LLC makes more sense. Yeah. Tax advice for an Australian citizen: is moving to Dubai the way to go, or are there any other viable alternatives? So there are a lot of countries where you can live tax-free. The easiest options are all either Gulf countries in the Middle East or to some degree in Asia. Because here in the Middle East, you have in general just no income tax in Oman, in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in the UAE. And in Asia, it's still easy to use the territorial taxation system, which means the money which is not earned in the country, which is just coming from all over the world, is basically tax-free. The easiest options are Malaysia and Thailand. It's just becoming more difficult, and it's also unclear right now. In Malaysia, they make changes next year, 2026. It's not totally clear what will be afterwards. In Thailand, there were a lot of changes, but with a Thai LTR visa, if you have 1 million net worth and can invest 500K, you can use the Thai LTR visa and be potentially tax-free. But we just do UAE, and I recommend UAE because it's just the easiest way, which really works. You can get your residency here in 1 month. You have your domestic tax residency certificate in 3 months, your international tax certificate in 6 months. So all over the world, even if the worst government in the world wants to annoy you and tell you, no, you need to pay taxes. No, guys, here's my tax certificate and I don't need to pay taxes. So UAE is just the best way to get started. It's easy. It really works. You don't need to figure out anything, like I said. And then later on, you can still change. But it's difficult, honestly. I have the Thai visa, and still it's a little bit unclear right now. And Qatar, it's all really difficult. So there's a reason why all the millionaires, why most millionaires in the world are moving to Dubai, because it just works. It's not just, yeah, this sounds cool, and yeah, in theory they have, when you watch all these YouTubers who make you videos about 20 countries which are tax-free, theoretically, yes, but what does actually work? Where do you really get your residency? Where you can really have your money, because you need also financial interest in the country. It's just all difficult. So UAE is the best option, and I would start with the UAE because it's motivation. You stay here for the 6 winter month in a good location, good networking. You level up with your mindset. So just choose the UAE. So what's the minimum budget that I would recommend to begin setting up things like private processing and Hong Kong companies? The minimum budget, $4,000. $4,000. But you need to do it anyways. The problem is, let's say a lot of people just wait and think, I have a few K now. Why should I do this? Let's just continue to use my high-tax company setup, and let's continue to live in this country. First, I need to, get started and make more money. The problem is you already built your debt, you already built the problems, because now in 6 months, it's already hard to get out of this tax system. I mean, why do you think do all these countries make an exit tax? Because that's what they are hoping for, to enslave you, that first you get started in your comfort zone, the country where you're from. and let's make first more money, but then you already build substance and then it's harder to get out. So I would do it as soon as possible because you build yourself debt and that's not what you want to do. So the best way right now, nowadays, what I would do if I would have a little bit of money, I would set up the right structure, Hong Kong Limited or US LLC. This I would say is step number one, and I would directly move out. And if I would be completely broke, I would just stay in a cheap country like Thailand, for example, at least to get out and to get out of your country, to not build substance there so that they can't enslave you in this garbage exit tax. And you use your Hong Kong Limited or your US LLC, depending on where you sell, where you're from, and so on. And this costs you a few K. And then you're already more free. As soon as you have, let's say, 5K again, I would invest in private processing. So now you're at least out of this matrix, out of your negative surrounding. You're not living in your home country, so you're already out of this chains to some degree. You have a good company set up and good private processing. And then when you have, again, like 15, 20K or 30K, then you can move to Dubai, and then you have everything that you need, basically. Okay, we have some minutes left. Do you recommend using Airwallex instead of Shopify when at 6 figures a month level in revenue? So Shopify, it also depends on your business, where you sell, if you're just selling to one country. So Airwallex is good, especially if you know the owners of Airwallex, if you have a really dedicated manager there. And that's what we also offer with private processing. So even if you want to continue using Airwallex, you have just a better version of Airwallex with us because we know the owners. So you're not just a number at Airwallex. And you probably want to continue using PayPal, but you have like the best dedicated manager at PayPal. So this is also all included in private processing. Is Airwallex in general better than Shopify payments? I would say there's not a big difference, just small things. Let's say Shopify Payments has dynamic currency conversion. So the clients who sell in 10 countries at the same time, they prefer Shopify Payments, and only at Yen and Shopify Payments have dynamic currency conversion. But it's anyways not what I would recommend. If you really want to dominate, focus on one country, 2, 3 countries, and not I just want to sell randomly all over the world. It just makes things really difficult. And with some businesses, I make a few million per month only in the US, not even thinking about other markets around the world. So yeah, it just really depends on your business. Okay.
Yeah, but I think that's the last question. All right. Well, that was great. I really appreciate you hopping on a call, answering all the questions. I took a lot from this, and I'm sure everyone did. Got a recording. It was a little bit late, but I'll make sure to drop that to everyone. But again, I really appreciate you taking the time and hopping on this call with us.
Yeah, for sure. I think Vincent has shared one video here in the chat. Maybe we can just post again our YouTube channel. So guys, if you want deep dives on this topics, it's anyways all on our YouTube channel. And yeah, everybody of you who needs like one-on-one help, if you have let's say 2K, then you can book a call with us and at least like get the wealth consulting blueprint where you have a one-on-one call with me, and at least you have clarity and guidance for your future. And I think this is like the main value that we can provide. It's not even the company set. Of course we do everything in-house, the company setups and private processing, but I think the main value that we can give is guidance to you so that you don't do stupid mistakes, basically. Yeah, so just check our YouTube channel, and if you want to work with us one-on-one, you can just book a call at Wealth Consulting. And yeah, it was nice to be here, and wish you all success.
Of course, yeah. Thank you again. And then I have the links to all of their websites and then their YouTube channel inside of the Discord as well. If you want to get in contact with them, just send me a message and then I can like set up a group chat or to book a call. So, of course, thanks for everyone hopping on the call. Thank you again, Samuel. And then we'll speak soon.
Bye.